Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into something that honestly impacts every single one of us. We're talking about cracking the culture code, finally understanding what makes us all so different yet so similar.
You know that feeling, right? You're in a conversation, you understand every single word someone is saying, but you just know something is getting lost in translation. It's that bizarre sense of misconnection. And today, we're going to figure out exactly why it happens.
So to really get our heads around this, you have to think of culture as, well, as invisible software. It's like the operating system that's running in the background of your mind, guiding your reactions and your beliefs without you even noticing. Let's dig into what that programming is all about. And this quote from the researcher Geert Hofstede, wow, it just nails it. The collective programming of the mind. Think about that. It's not about who's right or who's wrong, it's just about being programmed differently. And really understanding that programming, that is the key to everything.
Okay, so if culture is this mental programming, how on earth do you map it? Well, that was the exact goal of this massive, almost ridiculously ambitious research effort called the GLOBE Project. They literally set out to draw a map of these cultural differences all across the globe.
So what did they find after all that work? They managed to boil down the massive complexity of human culture into 9 key dimensions. Just 9! 9 fundamental ways we can measure and understand what makes one culture's software run differently from another's. Let's break them down. All right, let's start with the first big cluster of dimensions. This is all about how we relate to each other. It covers everything from our view on power and authority to where we place our loyalty. Is it with the individual or with the group?
First up, we've got power distance. This is all about how much people just expect and accept that power isn't distributed equally. In high power distance cultures, hierarchy is just a fact of life, no questions asked. But on the flip side, in low power distance cultures, people push for equality and expect you to justify why you have more power.
Next is institutional collectivism. Sounds a little academic, right? But just think of it as collectivism on a grand scale, at the level of society itself. Do the country's laws and organizations encourage people to work together for the common good, or do they champion individual achievement above all else?
Now, let's zoom in a little bit with in-group collectivism. This one's way more personal. It's about that fierce pride and loyalty you feel for your immediate crew, your family, your company, your team. In some cultures, family loyalty is everything. It shapes your entire identity.
And the last one in this group is assertiveness. This is really about social style. Are people generally direct, maybe even a little confrontational when they communicate? Or is the vibe more about cooperation, being gentle, and taking an indirect route to get your point across? So you can see how our relationship with people and power is a huge piece of this puzzle. But that's not the whole story, is it? Our cultural programming also has a massive say in our whole approach to just getting things done. So let's look at how we act.
This second cluster is all about a culture's attitude towards action. It looks at how we approach our work, how we think about time, and, this is a big one, how we handle the fact that the future is always a little bit scary and unpredictable.
Performance orientation is pretty much what it sounds like. Does a society reward people for setting tough goals and knocking them out of the park? High-performance cultures are all about results, results, results. But in lower performance cultures, things like tradition, loyalty, and your relationships might matter a whole lot more.
Then you've got future orientation. This is basically about whether a culture is playing the long game or living for the moment. A high score means people are totally fine with planning, investing, and delaying gratification to get a bigger payoff down the road. A low score means a culture is way more focused on the here and now.
Okay, this one is a biggie. Uncertainty avoidance. At its core, it's asking how much do we hate surprises? Cultures with high uncertainty avoidance love rules, clear processes, and making everything as predictable as possible. On the other hand, cultures with low uncertainty avoidance are much more comfortable with risk, ambiguity, and just seeing what happens.
We've seen how we relate and how we act, but what about what we truly believe in, deep down? The final 2 dimensions really get to the core values of a society, the stuff that truly defines its soul.
So, we're at the last section, covering 2 of the most profound parts of a culture's programming. This is all about its core beliefs on humanity and its ideas about equality.
So gender egalitarianism. This one measures how much a society works to minimize the differences in gender roles. Do they actively promote equality? That's a high score. Or do they tend to maintain very distinct, often traditional roles for men and women?
That's a low score. And finally, our last dimension, humane orientation. This is all about what a culture rewards. Does it encourage and celebrate people for being fair, generous, and kind? Or does it prioritize things like self-interest, gaining power, and material wealth? It really gets to the heart of what a society values.
So there you have it, all 9 dimensions. But look, the point here is not to put people in boxes, not at all. Instead, think of this framework as a toolkit. It's a powerful set of lenses that can help you turn those moments of total confusion into genuine connection and real understanding.
Because understanding this code, it does more than just explain the past. It actually empowers you to change the future. The next time you feel that disconnect, you'll have a map to navigate it. So the real question is, now that you know the code, how are you going to rewrite your next conversation?